April 14th, 2025, it's being billed as a historic moment in the annals of space travel. 6 women, powerful, famous, and fierce, soaring into the so-called final frontier on Blue Origin's NS-31 flight, among them none other than pop sensation Katy Perry, media titan Gayle and Jeff Bezos' skybound sweetheart Lauren. On the surface, it's a feel-good mission wrapped in empowerment and science fiction nostalgia, but beneath that polished press release sheen, a story that smells a lot more like a Hollywood script than a real launch into the void. Let's take a deeper dive, or should we say, launch downward into what's really going on. Is it a space flight or public relations ritual? First off, let's talk facts. NS-31's historic mission will last all of 11 minutes. That's not a trip to the moon, Mars, or even a picnic on the ISS. That's shorter than a Katy Perry halftime show and about as choreographed. The capsule barely crosses the Kármán line, an imaginary boundary 62 miles up before falling right back down to Earth under parachutes like a glorified amusement park ride. And here's the kicker. None of the women on board will even be considered astronauts by any space agency. They're passengers, tourists, performers in a gravity-defying act meant more for headlines than history books. So what exactly is this all-female mission accomplishing? And why now? Let's be cheeky and call it the cult of space and the new priestesses. Look at the lineup. A pop idol who literally released a song about intergalactic love, E.T., a media gatekeeper tied to Oprah whose influence on global consciousness cannot be understated, and a civil rights advocate carrying space-age female health prototypes into the void. Sounds noble, right? But when you zoom out, or should we say look behind the curtain, a pattern emerges. Each woman represents a different sphere of influence: music, media, science, social activism, private aviation, and filmmaking. Together, they form a perfect storm of narrative control. The message: space is safe, space is accessible, space is inclusive, space is real, but what if it isn't? And just so we may have the space illusion and the Earth agenda. For decades, skeptics have questioned the legitimacy of space travel, from the missing stars in moon landing photos to NASA's suspiciously repetitive CGI Earth views. And now, in the age of AI and deepfakes, it's never been easier to stage a convincing zero-gravity illusion. Blue Origin's suborbital hops are conveniently short, self-contained, and visually controlled. Every second of footage is owned and filtered by the billionaires funding them. So how can we ever verify what's really happening up there? Is Katy Perry truly floating above Earth, or is she on a gimbal in a giant hangar in West Texas, lip-syncing weightlessness for your feed? Let's not pretend this launch is about exploration. It's about influence projection. By sending a curated crew of celebrity avatars into space, Blue Origin isn't launching a ship, they're launching an ideology, one that says, the Earth is fragile and must be saved. Cue climate pledges. Billionaires are our new philosophers. The sky is no longer the limit, it's the stage. Meanwhile, those who question the narrative are dismissed as loonies in tinfoil hats. But ask yourself, why do they need celebrities to sell space? If it's so real, so wondrous, so self-evident, why the show? Is NS-31 a breakthrough for women in space, or just the next act in a long-running stage play about control, illusion, and obedience? One thing's for sure, they're not going to space, they're going somewhere, and wherever that is, it's less about the stars and more about keeping you grounded. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and never trust a billionaire with a rocket.
I have to tell you, I'm so afraid.
Stop, Gayle.
I am. I'm so afraid, but I'm also so excited about it. When they asked me, around Thanksgiving, I was like, no. Then I started thinking about it. I met with favorite daughter Kirby, favorite son Will, Oprah. That's my kitchen cabinet. They will all be there that day with their spouses. And I just thought, what a unique opportunity. And then yesterday, I met the crew. We're now the crew. We're all in a text chain together. And their stories are so amazing. When Aisha was told, your dreams are too big. Somebody else was told, women don't go in. We'll introduce you later, but one mom said her son, when he was a little boy, and she said she was going to space, his kids at school said, you're a liar because moms don't go to space. And now she's going. Somebody else is a sexual assault survivor. Katy Perry she's a different kind of dude. She comes from a totally different planet. It's been her lifelong dream. Lauren Sánchez, we all know, you know, she flies helicopter pilots. She's a philanthropist. She's an author. We know, of course, that she's engaged to Jeff Bezos. So all these people, this has been their dream. This was never my dream.
No.
Yes, but Gayle,
it was never my dream. And somebody said, well, maybe you need to have new dreams, Gayle.
No,
maybe
but Gayle,
actually, that's good advice. And
it is.
I think it's so awesome.
I don't know how to explain being terrified and excited at the same time. It's like how I felt about to deliver a baby.
Oh, but Gayle, here's the way I thought about it when I
time.
heard the news. First of all, I'm proud to be at your side every morning and sit with you, and to know that you're going into space. When we were children, astronauts didn't look like me and you.
I know.
And what I thought of
astronaut's a loose word. What you're talking about?
Yes, but you're going into Astros, and
I know.
So to me, that's what you're going to be after this journey. And I thought immediately of that.
I'm shaking right now, even though.
Here's what I thought. I thought of that Maya Angelou quote where she wrote that the desire to reach for the stars is ambitious, but the desire to reach hearts is wise. And you've spent decades reaching our hearts. You're going to go into space and tell us what it's like to be an ordinary person. You're not John Glenn. You're not Neil Armstrong. You're Gayle King. Yeah. And the way that you're going to be able to relate that story back to those of us who have followed you and watched you and have been at your side and not been at your side for all these years, that's the true value in what you're doing.
Well, you know, I had a big birthday, as you guys know. You were both there. And I thought I wanted to open myself up to new adventures and step out of my comfort zone. And once Kirby and Will were fine with it and Oprah was fine with it, I was surprised because I thought Oprah would say no, but she said no. She said, I think if you don't do it, when they all come back and you have the opportunity to do it, you will be kicking yourself. And she's right.
I don't think you can possibly say no. We spend our whole lives as journalists. I don't think you can possibly say no. We spend our whole lives as journalists. You've spent your career as a journalist. You talk to people here on this planet. Very few of the billions of us here get to go up there and look back down.
I mean, I started my career thinking I was allergic to math, right?
Yeah.
In school, I did not want to do calculus. And here I'm sitting here and I'm just like, we are going to space.
I mean, you were also told as a little girl, I love her backstory, that you actually dreamed too big.
Yeah.
When you talked about going to space, they said you need to make your dreams smaller. What were you told you should be doing?
I was told I couldn't, I wouldn't, I shouldn't, and I can't.
Oh.
And I did. I went from community college to studying aerospace at the University of Michigan to working at NASA for 6 years.
But they said you should be a cosmetologist. Didn't they tell you that? You should go to hairdressing school. Nothing wrong with that, but you were thinking other things that you wanted to do.
It was so limiting at the time, and I really dedicated my career to demonstrating that you decide who and what it is that you want to be, not others.
We're a crew. Wow, I just got chills from you saying my crew.
Is anyone else nervous?
I'll be a little nervous, but I'll be looking at y'all.
We are pioneers. We're trailblazing this path to space for future generations.
Oh my God, it's really happening. I'm so excited.
Thank you for watching. If you haven't, please consider to subscribe. Take care until next time.